Hi everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Verdict. I've picked out 6 interesting races for us to analyse here on the show. We're spread far and wide this week. We'll go to the Curragh, we'll be at Kempton, Chelmsford, Nottingham, and we'll finish up at Leopardstown with the Derby trial on Sunday afternoon. I think I've got one horse in particular in this week's programme that will go under the radar, but the sectionals point to it to being a very interesting horse going forward from the John and Thady Gosden team. More of that horse anon, but we're going to start at the Curragh. Last Monday, it was Bank Holiday Monday, a very good card at the Curragh overall, and I think we've got a horse here to analyse that might win at Royal Ascot. Here are the winners and the times. The going was officially described as soft, and those times were quite slow. It was clearly quite hard work. You can see there, plus 8.69 in the opener. That was a newcomer, a nice horse to keep an eye on for Jesse Harrington, a 2-year-old who might go to Royal Ascot. 6.92 over for Whistlejacket. We'll have a look at him in a minute, and all of the other races were pretty slow. So therefore the sectionals that we're going to analyse for Whistlejacket's race, they won't be that sensational. They won't be well under 12 seconds, and that's because of conditions. So let's have a look at this Guernsey First Flyer Stakes. It's a listed event over 5 furlongs. Whistlejacket, who'd had one previous start and was beaten up against winners. He was 6-5 on. Arizona Blaze was 2-1. It was 8-1 Morning Vietnam. Gran Habano 14s, and it was Monotone who was the outsider. That was a 20-1 shot. Right, so let's have a look at what happened at the Curragh, the straight 5 furlongs, of course. There's the winner, Whistlejacket in stall 1, Arizona Blaze second from 4, Monotone, the outsider, was third, coming from stall number 3. Let's have a look at the break speed of the winner, Whistlejacket, compared to Arizona Blaze. There he is in the green cap, far side. He took 2.41 seconds to get to 20 miles an hour. Arizona Blaze took a bit longer, 3.05 seconds to get up to 20 miles an hour, but was soon bustled up by David Egan to join issue with Whistlejacket through the race. But it turns out that Arizona Blaze just couldn't live with Whistlejacket, who failed to get home on his debut. He went quite fast early on, as he's doing here, and he didn't quite get home. He didn't see it out. With that run under his belt, he saw this out pretty well. Finishing speed percentage for him of 103.31, so he's 3.31% quicker in the final couple of furlongs than the previous 3. And the 4th furlong, he went 11.99, and Arizona Blaze could not live with him. He's just done that as he got to the furlong pole. He'd done 11.98 before that, but it was the 11.99 that put Arizona Blaze away. And a 12.73 final furlong may not sound very fast. That's because of conditions, but he was the only horse to go under 13 seconds for that final furlong. And I thought he was pretty impressive here. He's clearly a very fast horse, really quick out of the stalls, as we highlighted with that break speed that he was able to show. Very quick up to 20 miles an hour. And then he sustained a really strong gallop, which really sort of broke the heart of Arizona Blaze in second. Monotone running on into 3rd place. Only perhaps slight negative about the winner is that when he got a flick of the whip from Ryan Moore, he did flash his tail just a little bit. He's running around a bit. Ryan's trying to keep him straight by using his whip in his left hand. But he's pretty strong late on, and he's won quite nicely. 24.72 the winner for the final couple of furlongs. The runner-up was 25.3. There's the difference, 24.72 versus 25.3. That's a significant difference in those final couple of furlongs. Look at the tail, just going a little bit when he gets a flick of the whip. But he's just green, he's still learning, and he's clearly very talented. That sustained speed that he was able to show, 11.98, 11.99, that put the runner-up away. He's a brother to Little Big Bear. Remember the really good sprinter, Little Big Bear. And Little Big Bear won the Windsor Castle at Royal Ascot, and that's where this fella is going to go, I think. I think that's his destination, to follow in his brother's footsteps, and for which he is about the 4-1 favourite at the moment. He's also favourite for the Norfolk, so wherever he goes, he's going to go off quite a short price, I think, at Royal Ascot. A very nice performance, a much improved performance from him from his debut, and Aidan O'Brien will be very pleased with what he did out there. So let's summarise what happened out there, courtesy of the Race IQ sectionals. You can see that he's top speed there in that top speed column, 38.07. Arizona Blaze got up to a slightly better top speed of 38.45. That was all through the 4th furlong, but couldn't sustain the speed like Whistlejacket was able to do. He fired that 11.99 being his fastest furlong, and his finishing speed percentage was 104.6. 7-2. To be fair, the second, third and fourth from those finishing speed percentage, well, they didn't stop. They kept on rolling, but they just couldn't sustain their speed as well as Whistlejacket, who's a very interesting horse going forward to Royal Ascot. Let's have a look at a really good performance at Kempton last week. It was perhaps one that will go under the radar. It's not the one I talked about at the top of the show that is a must-watch for later on, but this is a good performance. Here are the winners and times from that night at Kempton Park, and the horse we're going to concentrate on is Rochelle. And look at those times. They were pretty quick for Kempton. I know the going is described as standard to slow. It's more standard, I think, quicker than it has been for a while, and Rochelle was able to dip under the Racing Post standard at 0.03 under, at 1:24.37 for 7 furlongs. You can compare that with the other 7 furlong times there, and it was a real standout from Rochelle in the 7 o'clock. Now and then we've been utilising the Race IQ Time Index graphics to put times in context, to allot times for particular races, a score between 0 and 10 using historical data, and judging what horses have achieved, bearing in mind the class that they're running in, the sort of surface they're running on, and the trip they are running over. You'd expect a score between 5 and 6 normally, so a lot of these races at Kempton last week were above standard. They're above what you might have expected, so some horses have overperformed, but in particular, look at that figure for Rochelle, 9.51 on the time index. That's the figure allotted by Race IQ, almost the maximum, so it's a tremendous performance in what is just a fillies novice event. The average on the day was 7.22, so most horses overperforming against what would be expected. Betting for Rochelle's race then. Well, 11 to 10, on the drift a little bit from evens. Get jiggy with it, 4 to 1. 9 to 2, Bella Taslina, really weak in the market. Atlantis Blue, 5 to 1. Eternal Spring, 14 to 1. That was weak as well, and it was 40s and bigger the rest. Let's have a look at it then. I really think this filly is going places. I know this is just a weak novice, but I think she's very good indeed. From stall 1, beating Get Jiggy With It from 5 and Eternal Spring from 4. They jump out. It's a bit messy for some of them. A few of them missing the break and swerving left and showing inexperience. Now, she's down on the inside in the orange colours as Atlantis Blue takes them along at a pretty good gallop at this stage for a restricted novice. They went along fairly quickly. It was just an even gallop. Often they can crawl at Kempton, but this was a little bit better run than some of the crawls we see, allowing the winner to record a finishing speed percentage of 103.38. So Rochelle in the orange colours, 3.38% quicker in the final couple of furlongs than the earlier part of the race. And that's because she can quicken up off this strong gallop, which really was quite strong. They kicked again off the bend, but you'll see what Rochelle is able to do in the home straight once extricated. Having a first run for Kevin Philippart de Foy since leaving Peter Chapel-Hyam. Here she goes, and this is where she's very impressive. She quickens smartly. 5th furlong, 11.27. 6th furlong, 11.31. 2 really quick furlongs to reel in Atlantis Blue out in front and leave the others in her wake. Get Jiggy With It, who was always prominent, just boxing on and holding on for second place. Eternal Spring lunging down the outside, but paid for a big effort trying to chase Rochelle, and Rochelle is away and gone for a 6.5 length success. And she recorded 23.32 for the final quarter mile, and the runner-up was just under a second slower than that, so she was way quicker than the runner-up, and this was a very good performance. She's got a smart turn of foot, and she's won this going away. I really like the way she went about it, and there's going to be more to come from her. It's even more credit-worthy because of what happened perhaps in the earlier part of the race. She got shuffled back a little bit, and she was also a bit keen as well. She wanted to do a bit too much. Luckily, she got settled against the rail and got a bit of cover, and she dropped it, and she was able to settle for James Doyle eventually. So there's still things to learn for her, and if she can just settle better, I think there's going to be an awful lot more to come from her. I'll make a bold prediction that she's a very useful prospect. She's got an absolute ton of speed, and I think she's a listed filly. I'm pretty sure she could cut it in listed company with what she's done out there. She probably hasn't been anything very much, but the clock shows her to be very good indeed. Now, she's by Scissor Kick out of a Mr. Greeley mare. Now, Scissor Kick was a very good Australian sprinter at Group 3 and Group 2 level, and he's imparted plenty of speed to this individual, who might always be suited by an all-weather surface, but I think she's got a bright, bright future, this filly. She quickened up very well there. Those are impressive sectionals, 11.27, 11.31, back-to-back to go and catch the leader and then shoot away and win 6.5 lengths. Here's the Race IQ summary for you. And this just details how quickly she came out of the stalls. We've got the 0 to 20 miles an hour figure for you there. She was 6th quickest, as you can see, out of the stalls. The quickest was Get Jiggy With It. That's the one in the brackets next to that 2.45 seconds. She was quite quickly away and always prominent. But to look at her fastest furlong there, 11.27. You can see the Eternal Spring went in pursuit, did an 11.19 chasing Rochelle, but paid for that, couldn't back that up, whereas Rochelle could and came home strongly with a finishing speed percentage of 103.38. A truly run contest in which the winner showed a fantastic turn of foot. It's just a restricted novice, but I think she's a listed filly and one to follow. We're going to have a look at the 8 o'clock at Chelmsford on Thursday night last week. I think it's thrown up a horse that we should follow and put in our racing TV trackers. They'll win a similar sort of contest in the near future. Let's have a look at the winners from the night. And rather like Kempton, I thought the track was riding a bit quicker than it can do on some occasions. Amazement was just 1.32 above the standard. De Flawless, 1.87 above. That's a horse to conjure with, I think, going forward. Taxing, that was a slowly run staying contest that turned into a sprint. Tabletalk, that's the race we'll look at. 2 minutes 6.59 over 10 furlongs. Primo Lara was just over 3 seconds over, and Conquest of Power just a second or so over. That was a very strongly run race, that closer. But Tabletalk's race is the one I want to concentrate on, the 8 o'clock. And this is the betting for it. Tabletalk was favourite, but on the drift a bit, 13-8. Sant'Alessio was 5-2. Hajara was 11-4. 13-2, Belcamo, who was the exposed one in the race. 14-1, Vinnie's Dream. Wannabe a Wallaby, 66s, 80s and 100s, the bottom two there. So let's have a look at it. And I'm going to suggest that you put Hajara in your racing TV trackers. The winner from stall 1, the second Hajara from 4, and the third Belcamo from 8. Look at this Hajara. Very slow to get to 20 miles an hour. 3.16 seconds, but Tabletalk much quicker. 2.64 with the benefit of experience. Tabletalk coming from 1, Hajara, big white face, just a bit green, and it's not quite into stride as quickly as some of the others, as detailed by that break speed that Hajara showed. This was a steadily run race with Tabletalk down on the inside in the yellow colours, having a positional advantage over Hajara, who was too green to do himself justice in the early part of the race. Now, Sant'Alessio comes round the outside of the field under Jamie Spencer and takes Tabletalk on, who's immediately then a bit keen as he's taken on, but not so keen that he uses up enough petrol to stop him winning. The steady gallop meant that he had plenty left for the closing stages. And how do we know it's steady? Well, visually it looks like they're crawling, but the finishing speed percentage tells us all we need to know. 110.35 for Tabletalk. Over 10% quicker in the last couple of furlongs than the rest of the race. And that's because, yes, he's got a turn of foot and he can finish fast, but it's also because he's saved petrol to utilise that turn of foot, and he's saved petrol because they've gone steady. Look at the advantage he's got over Hajara, white cap. He's on the inside saving ground, and he's about 4 lengths clear of Hajara, who's not on the inside. He's giving away a bit of ground. Look, round the bend, Hajara niggled at by Jack Mitchell. He just doesn't quite know what to do in the race at this stage. And you wouldn't have thought there's Jack, his arms going again on Hajara, and he's got an awful lot to do. It's a big task, that, ceding 5 or 6 lengths to horses who are quickening in front of you. They're quickening away from you. Then you've got to go and reel them in. They're going 10% quicker in the last 2 furlongs and around the rest of the race, yet you've got to go and try and reel them in. Now, Hajara is going nowhere at this stage, but then, in a moment, will change legs, as we've highlighted here, and start to roll then. Get that there and get the hang of things now, having changed legs. And watch the way Hajara comes home. And the figures are very interesting. Final 2 furlongs, Tabletalk 22.91, Hajara 22.42. It was a race that turned into a 3 furlong sprint, and the winner is not as quick as the runner-up through those last 3 furlongs. 34.42, 34.35. So whatever way you look at it, the last 3 furlongs or the last 2 furlongs, or indeed one individual furlong late on, Hajara is quicker than Tabletalk. That individual furlong was furlong 9. This is where Hajara is impressive. And just after he changes his legs, and starts to fly along, he records an 11.11 second furlong compared to the winner at 11.32. Tabletalk had all the advantages there. Positional advantage, able to kick first, had previous experience as well, yet Hajara, when he got the hang of things, he showed that he's going to win one of these in the very near future for the Roger Varian team. Well, let's go from Hajara to Nottingham on Friday. I'm going to have a look at a couple of races from here. We're going to see how Midnight Gun won the opening contest, the 5:27 over a mile and 75 yards. Time wasn't too bad at all. And we'll look at Theory of Tides as well. In the 6:34 was just 4 seconds over in a race that was quite steadily run. Times were not too bad, actually, suggesting that they were on good ground, certainly no worse than that. And I think we saw 2 very nice horses here. Firstly, Midnight Gun. Let's have a look at what he achieved out there. He is a very nice horse, trained by Ed Walker. Red Hot Whisper went off the well-backed favourite for what was a novice stakes. He was 5-4, having been 15-8. Condor Passer 7-2. Midnight Gun 15-2, and Alentejeu was 11-1, and Seymour 18s and 25s and unconsidered, really, the rest of them as far as the betting was concerned. Okay, let's have a look at this. Midnight Gun is the grey, coming out of stall number 9. Condor Passer was second from 3. Red Hot Whisper from 1 was back in 3rd place. A couple of horses were quite slowly away and they never really got involved. And you can just see there the big grey horse settling into about 5th place at this stage. Managed to tuck in from stall 9. Kevin Stott's done a good job from there. He's managed to just sort of edge across and just be 1 horse width wide rather than being posted very wide, and it was a really nice slot for this horse to be in, as Condor Passer was towards the 4 in the yellow colours. Look at Red Hot Whisper against the rail, pulling really hard in the cheek pieces in about 3rd or 4th place. Really rank in behind, did well to actually finish in 3rd place in the end. This was an evenly run race. There was no hanging about here. They can sometimes crawl to get round this quite sharp bend at Nottingham, but they didn't really. They went a pretty good gallop. The winner recorded finishing speed percentage of 103.47, and the runner-up was 101.75. Condor Passer, the runner-up, really was just about the controlling speed against the rail in the yellow. So that horse has run evenly, but has been run down by this very useful Kingman colt, the grey horse, who's able to quicken better than any of his rivals. He puts up a nice burst of speed. Furlong 6, 11.22, and furlong 7, 11.33. He's doing that now to reel in Condor Passer. Red Hot Whisper trying to get up the inside, but paying for pulling early and running out of juice. And now, despite being green, this horse clears away from Condor Passer, trying to hang into the rail, and eventually straightens out in the end and gets the hang of things. And Kevin Stott's able to get that rail and really ask this horse to quicken up well. He's very well bred. He's by Kingman out of Sky Lantern, and this is just his 3rd career start. And I think that was a very nice effort. The quickening effort that he made through a couple of furlongs, really impressive. That 11.22 and 11.33. And the winner was 0.48 seconds faster than the runner-up in the final 2 furlongs. So a dominant display from this horse, who was quite slowly out of the stalls. 3.07 seconds it took him to get into stride. So he was a little bit slowly away, but in this company it enabled Kevin Stott to just drop in, slot in, and just get a nice position. Fastest speed in the race from the winner as well, 40.24 miles an hour, which he fired when he quickened through those final 3 furlongs. And they finished pretty well strung out. So I think this is quite a useful horse. I think he's still green, but the raw ability was there for us all to see, and the numbers revealed it to us as well. So I think Ed Walker's going to have some real fun with this horse. Good ground officially at Nottingham. Might be even better if it gets a little bit quicker. But that was a nice effort. And this horse has still got plenty to learn, but is a bulky, nice sort, and there could be a lot more to come. Let's sum it up then, courtesy of Race IQ data. You can see that jump speed there. It wasn't that fast, 3.07, but in these novice stakes, you're not going to get really quick breaks out of the stalls. 2.97 for Condor Passer, and that meant that he was always towards the 4. There's that top speed I referred to, 40.24 miles an hour. And that fastest furlong was the 6th furlong, when he went 11.22. They're all trying to quicken there. You can see 11.49 the runner-up, 11.49 Red Hot Whisper, 11.69 then for Charmelin, who shaped okay back in 4th place. But they couldn't quicken as well as Midnight Gun, who's got a surefire future, I think. He's a pretty good colt. OK, we're going to stay at Nottingham, and this is the performance I've been looking forward to talking about. This is the one that could be a hidden gem. The horse is called Theory of Tides. Let's have a look at the market for what was a novice stakes over 10 furlongs. Inner Peace went off favourite for Godolphin, 11-4. Padesha, 100-30. The King's General, well back 9-2. From the same stable as Theory of Tides, that of John and Thady Gosden. Theory of Tides himself was 13-2. Acting line 7s, 8s, and bigger the rest. OK, let's watch this. Theory of Tides from 11 beats Dramatic Star from 8, Padesha from 5. Now they jump. OK, Theory of Tides completely blows the start. OK, it took him 3.92 seconds to get up to 20 miles an hour, whereas the Godolphin horse, in the Godolphin blue, middle of the pack there, he took just a shade over 3 seconds to get to 20 miles an hour. And what it means, as we roll them on, is that Theory of Tides is there last, plumb last, because he's so slowly into stride, as highlighted by the numbers. And now they're going to have to ride a bit of a race on him from the back of the field. But he's got a problem, and his big problem is that this race was very steadily run. They absolutely crawled in the early part of the race. He was racing in 9th place for much of it. He went through the 2nd furlong in 12.98, then he went 13.15, then a 12.69, and the next 2 furlongs were pedestrian, 13.67 and a 13.8. That's what the winner did through those furlongs, and he sat 3rd last. They're absolutely crawling. The advantage lies with the horse in front, his stable companion, the King's General, who's bossing this field. He's got his own way out there, and you'd think that he's going to prevail, given the easy lead he's got. And look at Padesha, just to the outside there. He's just edged into 2nd place now. Well, he finishes placed as well. So those horses that were towards the 4 had every chance to win this race. They finished their races really quickly. The runner-up, finishing speed percentage, 109.99. The 3rd, 109.22. The 4th, 107.9. So the 2nd, 3rd and 4th all finished their races well over 7% quicker than they ran the rest of the race. Yet Theory of Tides, still 3rd last, runs them down in cold blood. He flies from the back of the field, 112.77. His finishing speed percentage, nearly 13% quicker in the last couple of furlongs than the rest of the race, but it doesn't look likely at this stage. But believe me, if you look at the figures, he quickens. He goes the 8th furlong, 11.14, the 9th, 11.16, and then he goes 11.66. 3 really fast furlongs. They're not stopping in front of him. These aren't horses that are tiring in front of him. He's just getting the hang of it on his debut, and he's fired 3 really quick furlongs. And he gets to the front in a steadily run race where he was at a complete and utter disadvantage early on, given how the race was run, given his slow start, we highlighted that, and how far back in the field he was. And he looks green. Jack Mitchell trying to get him out of that pocket in behind horses. Look, he doesn't want to come out. He's still running really fast, though, even though he's trying to go to his left. And eventually he gets him organised amid greenness, and he flies home. And he gets up. He's by Galileo, but he's got a load of speed on the damn side of his pedigree. And I think, therefore, there's going to be an awful lot more to come from him. He's miles better than the bare result. He's much better than these horses that he's beaten here. Let me just remind you of those sectionals he clicked off. 11.14, 11.16 and 11.66 to catch horses who were quickening in front of him. That is a really good performance from this horse. Now, I mentioned his early sectionals being steady. They were, as evidenced by this. Look at this. The numbers in the brackets are the positions that he held in the race early on, and look how steady he went. 12.98, 13.15. It was a really slowly run race. 12.69, 13.67, 13.8. And then things started to warm up from the 7th furlong, that 11.8 and that 11.14. And then he went 11.16 and 11.66. So steady run race, but he had a sharp turn of foot amidst obvious greenness on his debut. Miles better than bare result, and he might just go somewhat under the radar for a while. Okay, Leopardstown staged an excellent card on Sunday afternoon. It included 3 Group 3s, and the main feature was the Derby trial. Let's have a look at the betting, or the winners rather, for the day. Some really nice horses on show. Igor Stravinsky was really impressive in the opening contest for Aidan O'Brien. Had 4 winners on the card. Highbury won well. Wendler, it was a brilliant ride from Colin Keane. He dictated matters from the front. He rode them to sleep on Wendler. It was a really good effort. Bold Discovery. Then Los Angeles wins the Derby trial, the 3:35. Lope de Lilias, Saturn and Ortelius, the other winners. Decent ground as well. Look at those times. Not much over standard bar the Wendler race, which was run an absolute crawl. I think we were verging on good to firm ground there at Leopardstown on Sunday afternoon. Let's have a look at the Derby trial. The Derby picture somewhat murky, isn't it? City of Troy is favourite, but we don't really know what to expect from him, do we, after what happened in the Guineas? Los Angeles was a 4-5 favourite here. Bremen 4-1. Tarrage 11-2. Bit of money for that. Euphoric 6s and 18s. Keeper's Heart. Here's what happened. 10 furlongs then at Leopardstown, and Los Angeles from 1 wins this race from Euphoric from 3. Euphoric's gone to the front now, and Tarrage from 4 was back in 3rd place. You can see from how they're strung out at this stage that he went a reasonable gallop out in front, and I think I'd say that it wasn't a strongly run race, but it wasn't a complete and utter crawl. The first 4 furlongs were steady-ish, and then they picked it up from quite a long way out. And I think the winner won this by just staying stronger than his rivals, and I think he'll get further. He was a bit slow into stride. He took 2.76 seconds to get up to 20 miles an hour, whereas the runner-up was quicker, 2.39, and that runner-up is out in front at this stage. And he's bossing the race here. They've steadied it up according to the sectionals at this point. They're not going that quick, but they will speed up from about 4 out, and it's quite a quick finish overall. The winner recording a finishing speed percentage, 106.49. He's in 3rd at this stage, so he's 6.49% quicker in the final couple of furlongs than he was the rest of the race. I don't think he's a horse with a sharp turn of foot, though. I think he's just a horse that stays well, keeps on galloping, will stay further. He was much stronger than everything else in the final furlong, and he put up 3 strong furlongs to win this race. The 7th he went 11.92, 8th 11.45. He's done an 11.72 as well. So he really is a horse who can just sustain a strong gallop rather than quicken sharply. He's also 3 wide and giving away a bit of ground at this stage, with Euphoric winding it up. You see, they've wound it up from quite a long way out. The 3 pole is right there, and they've just wound it up quite a long way out. But he keeps on going. He keeps on staying on well. Tarrage throwing down a challenge down the middle of the track in the orange colours, but can't really get there. And the winner was strongest in the final furlong, and that's telling. I think he was 12.56, the runner-up 12.73. Look here, he just keeps going. He just keeps rolling. He's done 3 strong furlongs, 11.92, 11.45, 11.72. He keeps going, and he pricks his ears just after the line. I think there was a little bit more in the tank there. Not a sharp turn of foot, but remember, he's now unbeaten in 3 starts, and he won a Group 1 as a 2-year-old at St. Cloud. So there might yet be a fair bit more to come from Los Angeles. He's about 10-1 currently for the Derby. We'll quickly sum up what we saw out there. There's the summary. There's his break speed. He was 3rd quickest out of the stalls. You can see his finishing speed percentage of just over 106%, and his fastest furlong was 11.45. That was at the mile point. Still a couple of furlongs to go after that. So you can see they got racing quite a long way out, and he outstayed them in the end. 1.5 miles will be no problem for him whatsoever. Hope you've enjoyed everything that we've brought you on The Verdict this week. Lots to mull over. Theory of Tides, very interesting. Put him in your tracker. See you next week.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.